Hi guys. So in this video, I will be explaining you about my Nagarro's second round interview experience. So I've already created one video and you liked it a lot. Okay, so it was around 10,000 views that I got. So I'm very much grateful for that and thank you so much for that. So now Nagarro, there were not much vacancy at that point of time. So that position went on hold. Okay, so in this again vacancy came and then second round happened for me. Okay, it was a little bit late. Okay, so after a long time second round happened with me. So now I'm explaining you what all questions were asked to me and what was the actual interview experience that had happened. Okay, I have worked with. Okay, so this is the common question across all the interviewers that they will ask you. Okay, what all projects have you worked upon? What all tech stacks have you worked upon? What was the deployment process that you have followed in your project? Okay, and which all sectors have you worked upon, like banking and financial domain projects or healthcare domain projects? What all different categories of projects have you worked upon? So these kind of questions they will ask you in the initial phase to as a warm up. Okay, so initially they will not start asking you about technical questions. Okay, so they will start from building that uh, questions based upon the answer that you are giving to your questions like this. What all projects have you made? What all tech stacks have you made use of? Why have you made use of those tech stacks? What problems have you resolved by upgrading to the latest versions of Spring or Java? So from there, actually, question starts building up. So these questions are also very much important. So don't take these questions lightly. Okay. Next question was exposure to Docker, Kubernetes, or cloud. So they will start asking you about what all experiences you have with Docker, Kubernetes, or cloud. Do you know any? Do you have any hands-on experience on this or not? So if you have hands-on experience, you can directly explain like, yes, I have worked upon this, and what all things have you worked upon? Why have you worked upon? What all advantages have you got? Okay, so that things you can explain. Then have you, if you have worked upon cloud, then you can explain them like how have you migrated your task from on-prem to cloud and what were the advantages you had after migrating your changes to cloud. Okay, so those type of questions can be asked. Okay, and what all cloud platforms have you worked upon, like Microsoft Azure is there, then Amazon AWS is there. What all cloud platforms have you worked? Okay, so how have you configured all form of proxy settings and all those things they can ask, like IAM policies also very important. Amazon S3 buckets. Regarding that also questions can be asked. So these are very important concepts. We should understand it wisely. Next question was disk. Okay, so they were asking about these things like what's the difference between vertical and horizontal scalability. Okay, so the diagonal scalability was not asked, but you should know this first, because if they ask question on this, then you should not tell like I didn't hear about this word diagonal scalability. So it's just a combination of horizontal and vertical scalability. So it actually increases the importance of vertical and horizontal scalability, because somewhere diagonal scalability is also required where there is more complex architecture is there, where scaling up and scaling out approaches must. In that scenario, diagonal scalability will be used. Okay, so otherwise vertical and horizontal scalability will be mostly asked in 99% of the cases. Okay, so first of all, definition will be knowing that it increases the resources of a single node or a single computer system, okay, to handle higher workloads. Here we are not creating multiple instances of the nodes. Rather, it will focus upon increasing the memory specification or the size of the existing RAM of that particular computer or server. Okay, so you can consider it as a node or a server or a computer, all corresponding to one single aspect. That is, one simple resource is there, and how much things you are putting it up to increase the performance. Let's suppose you are having your CPU. Okay, so you are having your own personal laptop. In your personal laptop, what all things you can do? You can increase your size of your RAM, right? You can increase from 6 GB to 8 GB to 12 GB. Okay, you can increase the size of your hard disk, but laptop will remain the same, right? Laptop will not be multiple. One laptop is there, and you are increasing the specification, you are increasing the configuration of your laptop to make your performance faster. So that is actually vertical scalability. Horizontal scalability means same laptop configuration will be there, which is spread across multiple laptops. Okay, so you are not changing the RAM size, you are not changing the configurations of your CPU. That will remain the same, but you are creating multiple laptops. Okay, and you are using it multiple times. Okay, so once you are using one laptop, then at another instance you are using another set of laptops, so it is actually changing. So in that point of time, your instances are duplicated, it's actually replicated. If you will not work upon only one instance, or else you have to work upon multiple instances of the same node. That is horizontal scalability. So that was the thing. First is vertical scalability. Is it is used for scaling up. It increases the capacity of your existing resource. And horizontal scalability is scaling out, means adding more and more server. Limitations are there in every aspect. So for vertical scalability, it's limited by the maximum capacity of a single server. Only one single server will be there. Okay. And for horizontal scalability, it's limited by the ability to effectively distribute the workload among multiple server. There will be multiple server, right? So how effectively you are distributing that workload, so that there is a balancing of load happening across multiple nodes of that server. Okay, so that also effectively needs to be managed. So there can be a limitation on that as well. And in diagonal, there will be complexity in managing both. Okay, so when you have to scale in, when you have to scale out, okay, scaling up, scaling out, that becomes a little bit complex at times. Okay, so flexibility wise, vertical scalability is limited flexible, okay, because there will be only one single server on which you have to increase the specification basically. But in case of horizontal scalability, it provides higher flexibility of workload, because you are not modifying the one single instance, rather it's replicated across multiple, it's distributed across multiple servers of or instances. So it increases the flexibility, it improves the flexibility. And diagonal also improves the flexibility because it contains horizontal scalability, it has the benefit of both, right? Performance wise, uh, horizontal scalability will be better because it can handle higher traffics and it leverages multiple servers. There will be multiple server. If one server is down, you can make use of another server. So it becomes much more beneficial and faster in performance. And performance for vertical scalability are limited to one single server. So you can't make much changes. Okay, you can't increase the size of RAM from 4 GB to 100 GB. There is a limitation to that as well, right? That is the thing. And for cost efficiency, so for smaller workloads, when hardware upgrades are required, that is feasible. Okay, so but when there is large workload, when millions of records are coming, billions of records are coming, and traffic is at its peak during big billion day sale, so in that scenario, that single server will not work. So in that scenario, you have to work upon scaling it up across multiple nodes or a server, so that your traffic is distributed across multiple server nodes in that scenario, so that it is distributed, work gets distributed, and it's equally balanced, effectively balanced. And to leverage each and every server and its traffic, for that purpose, horizontal scalability should be used in that scenario, and it makes it more cost efficient. So just think about increasing all the configuration in one single CPU or in one single personal laptop. It increases the cost a lot. But if you just distribute it or dissipate it across multiple nodes or servers, then in that scenario, cost will be lesser. So horizontal scalability just beats vertical scalability by a bigger margin. So anyway, it just matters from place to place where and all which scalability needs to be used. But horizontal scalability beats vertical scalability by a drastic margin. Okay. And at last, there is one example scenario that we can consider, like adding more RAM to the server can increase the database operation as well. So if you are changing the CPU size or RAM size from 4 GB to 12 GB, or let's suppose 10 GB, then in that scenario, the database needs to operate more. Okay, it will have a greater load. Database, there's a limit to the database load that it can handle, and it's a very costly operation as well. And the CPU performance also gets reduced because multiple times database will be hit. Okay, so database takes time to return the response. It's not like Kafka, like millions of records will be sent across and it will work like a streaming platform. No, there's a storage service. Okay, so database is a storage service where you are storing the data, and there if you are acting as a multiple instances of it, like millions of records you are trying to save at one single instance, so it will not be possible. So DB operation will be slower. Okay, and in case of horizontal scalability, we can add more servers to your web application to handle increased traffic. So in that case, if more number of traffic is coming at one single instance, you can distribute it across multiple servers, so it will become faster in performance as compared to vertical scalability. And then in diagonal scalability, there is auto scaling mechanism is there, so it will dynamically adjust the resources based upon the demand. Okay, so if vertical scalability demand is there, like we have to add multiple RAM data or CPU size, then vertical scalability will be preferred. Or else if there is huge traffic, there is spike of traffic, then you should go for horizontal scalability. So there is a advantage with diagonal scalability that it can manage or adjust the resource based upon the requirement which is coming from the input side. So I hope you got the clarity on it. So this question is important. Okay, vertical and horizontal scalability. That's why I explained you. This is asked in 70% of the interviews. So you should prepare it. Okay. Or else you can take the screenshot of this and then prepare it. This is very important. The next question is this. Do you have any experience working with higher versions of Java? So you should be knowing that Spring Boot 3.0.x supports Java 17 only. So if you are telling that I worked with Spring Boot 3, then you should be comfortable to answer Java 17 based questions as well, because they will assume that you know Java 17 because you have worked with Java Spring Boot 3.0.x. Okay, so these are the things. There are a lot of changes that came from Java 8 to 17. So those changes you should be aware of. Okay, there are a lot of changes happen. Like there is a record and sealed feature came with interface that will permit certain classes to inherit the interface. Okay, to allow the classes to extend the interface, there is certain criteria for that. We can give that criteria, we can give that permission with the help of permits keyword. Okay, then there is pattern matching in case of switch case that you can tell. Then you can tell about Jakarta persistence API changes. So similar to that, there will be like a lot of changes are there. Okay, so text box changes will also be there. You can just go through it, Java 17 feature changes, and then try to implement it on your project. Okay, because they will ask you like, have you learned it or have you implemented in your project? So if you create one project with Java 17 features, then you can very easily explain that. Okay, then this is the thing they will ask you, like, have you learned all Java 17 feature or have you implemented in your project? So build any project, small project with Java 17, then you can very easily explain the use case for that. Then any experience working with NoSQL, that question was asked to me. Okay, so I didn't have much chance to work on MongoDB or NoSQL things. So if you don't have working hands-on experience on NoSQL or MySQL or Oracle SQL, then you should create one project, okay, by your own, and then make use of MongoDB or Oracle SQL, and then try to see like what's the difference coming. So I have noted it down few differences for you, so that you can have an idea. So at any instance, if any question is coming, you should answer that. There is like six to seven differences. Then from there, if you are answering 3 or 4 of them, then it's fine for you. Okay. The first changes with respect to MongoDB or MySQL DB, there is data structure and schema flexibility. So in case of MongoDB, you might be knowing that it's a schema-less design. Basically, MySQL requires a proper predefined schema. Okay, it's a big database. It should have a relational structure. Okay, and there should be a proper schema associated with your predefined with a proper there should be a schema-based design which requires a predefined schema, okay, which makes it less flexible. When data structure is getting changed from one to another, in that scenario, it will be a little bit challenging to change the existing schema. But in case of MongoDB, it's a schema-less design. Okay, at any point of time, you can modify your documents, you can modify the data structure, and then it will be very easily changed. Okay, so there is not much havoc because there is no relation between the two tables, and you can just design or store data with respect to semi-structured or unstructured data. Okay, it allows storage of that, but MySQL doesn't allow storage of unstructured or semi-structured data. There should be a proper structure associated with it. Then scalability with respect to that, then MongoDB is designed for horizontal scaling. Horizontal scaling, you know, right? There will be multiple instances on servers and load will be equally divided among them. So there comes the importance of sharding. Okay, so sharding means all data should not be put in one single database. Rather, it should be spread across multiple databases or multiple tables, so that one data should not come as a huge load factor to that particular table. Rather, it distributes across multiple tables. Okay, so that is the thing which is very much beneficial. But MySQL serves vertical scaling. Okay, vertical scaling is more commonly used with MySQL. So when we have to scale horizontally, then MySQL will be used because it contains more complex and a more difficult way of transferring the data. Okay, so it's more complex when there is a use of joins or more complex query structure. as compared to MongoDB, then we should make use of MySQL. Okay. Then performance and speed wise, so MongoDB will be faster, of course, because it's designed for horizontal scaling. So sharding of data, it allows data to distribute across multiple nodes. So it becomes more faster. And vertical scaling is used in MySQL, so it's very common. It can scale horizontally, but it is more complex and which is less native, okay, as compared to MongoDB. So in MySQL, vertical scaling will be more common. Okay. Then transaction management scenario, if I tell, then there is multi-document ACID transactions. Okay. So for multiple documents, whether it's structured or unstructured, it follows and supports ACID transactions. So ACID transactions, you might be knowing, like they are atomicity, consistency, isolation, and durability. These four properties are there. So which is very much important for interview perspective as well. This ACID transaction. What is the importance of this ACID property? Okay. So this is a thing with MongoDB, and for MySQL, there is a strong ACID compliance. Okay, so you should follow this ACID compliance strongly. Okay, which is suitable for applications requiring complex transactional support. So when there is requiring any complex type of transactional support, in that case, there should be a strong ACID compliance. Then last, query capability should be there. So in MongoDB, if you see, there is a flexible and dynamic queries are there, which is being used, and it is faster with respect to MongoDB. If you are doing dynamic queries allocation, then MongoDB will be faster as it supports rich ad hoc queries where there is indexing is there, where there is a lot of aggregations are there. So here ad hoc queries will be there, means dynamically you are trying to pass the value to the query, and then you are getting the data at that particular time, at that particular instance. So that point of time, MongoDB is faster. So, and MySQL will be used when there is complex queries and joins are involved, where powerful SQL query capabilities will be used. Okay, in that scenario, MySQL will be faster. Okay. Then this is a summary of it. Like when you need flexible schema design, then horizontal scalability will be required. And for horizontal scalability, MongoDB is preferred, which is faster. And it has high write throughputs. There is rapid development and there is geospatial queries. A lot of features are there. Just go through it once. You will get to know a lot of it. Okay. And this questions will be asked to you. When give me a use case when we should go for MongoDB and when we should go for MySQL. So when there is complex structures is required, when there is a ACID compliance is required, okay, then in that case we should make use of MySQL, where normally vertical scalability is required. And whenever there is a requirement for horizontal scalability, where there is flexible schema design, where you can store data with respect to structured or unstructured operations, then in that scenario we should choose MongoDB. I hope you got a clarity on this, when to choose part. Okay. Next question is, have you worked upon Kafka and why we need this? Okay, so this is also very important, why we need Kafka. So Kafka is a streaming platform where we send millions of records from producer to consumer. So there will be a producer who will produce the data. There is a pub sub model. Okay, so the data will be stored in the form of topics within a broker. So there will be certain thing called as zookeeper, which is required to run Kafka. Okay, and then data will be stored in the form of topics within the broker. Okay, so there will be a follower broker. There is a lot of concepts are there within Kafka. If you go through it, you will understand it. Okay, if you want to make me to create a video on Kafka, just let me know in the comment section below. I will create a video on that. Then why we need this? So you can explain it to them, like if you are using MySQL or any other database thing, then for storing millions of records, it will take a lot of time and it's not feasible enough as well. So in that scenario, we should make use of Kafka, where there is a transaction handling of around millions of billions of records per second. So it's very, very fast. And streaming platforms uses this, like Netflix, Hotstar. This uses Kafka at a very higher extent because there is millions of records handling is happening. Whenever you are seeing Hotstar Geo, okay, in my Geo, you are seeing IPL. So in that scenario, you are streaming it live. So there will be like tons of bits which has been transferred from that particular area to our mobile or desktop. So that requires a proper fast streaming platform. So that for that, Kafka is much more preferred. Next is, what are solid design principles? So this is asked, okay, and 70-80% of the interviewers will ask this question. So you should be clearly knowing this. What is solid design principle? So single responsibility principle, open for extension, close for modification, list for substitution, interface segregation, dependency inversion. So these are important concepts. Just go through it once. If you want me to create a video, just comment it down. I will create a separate dedicated video on this. Next question is what are immutable objects? So any object, if you are trying to modify it, it will create a new instance rather making changes into the existing object. So that is immutability basically. So they will tell you like create a class to define the immutability. Okay, how can you make a class immutable class? So he told me to make a class immutable which consists of one string value or ID or name, or and then he has added one map, one hash map, and then he told make the classes immutable class. So I think you can answer that. Then the question was how to make any class immutable. So this was the actual example he told me, like class employee is there, then there is string name, then there is map. So we have to make this class immutable. Okay. So next question was this, add custom objects as a key. Okay, so this is very important question. There is a code output based question was there. So in that scenario, what was asked to me is there is hash code and equals method overridden for that employee class or test class. Okay, then there is for that actually hash code will always return one. Okay, hash code always returns once and equals method always returns true. Okay, then in that scenario, when you are trying to add custom objects like test class object, you are trying to add as a key and value is any string like ABCD, then in that scenario, what will be the output? So I will show you in the IDE, like what was the exact question asked. Then you just pause it over there, try to think what will be the possible probable output. Then resume this video and see like whether your thoughts are matching with the output or not. So let's jump onto the IDE and see what was the question asked to me. I hope you can see my IDE now. So this was the question asked. So if I go over here, I have created one test class. It contains ID, it contains name. Okay. I have created getter setters for that. Then I have overridden hash code, which returns me one. So it will always return me one. So there is equals method, which is overridden, which will always return me true. Okay. There is a toString method overridden, so that I will print ID and name. So I've created 4 objects for test class, and then I'm setting ID and name for all these test class objects. Then I'm creating map. Okay, and I'm putting the data one by one into these objects in the map. Okay, so first this test class object is passed as a key and string value is passed as a value of this map. So if you see here, T1 is T2, T3, these are objects of the test class and these are string values which are passed as a value. So I'm trying to run a loop here, going through all the entry set for map. Okay, and then I'm trying to print key and value. So what will be my output over here? And if I'm trying to calculate the size of the map, so what will be the size of the map that was asked? Then if I'm trying to get this T1, okay, if I'm doing map.get T1, then what will be my value? For T1, T2, T4. Okay, so this was asked to me. If I'm getting T1, T2, T4, what will be my output? So this is the extra thing that I have added here for your understanding purpose, because HashSet internally implements HashMap only. So if you understand HashMap properly, then HashSet will be very much easy for you to understand. Okay, so let's understand this. So tell me first, what will be the output over here? I'm adding T1, T2, T3 objects with A, B, and C as values, and I'm trying to iterate it over this map, and I'm printing key and value pair. So what will be my output for this? Try to pause the video once and try to think it once and try to write the output in your notebook or in your laptop, and then try to resume and see what is the final output. I hope you have done this. So now if you understand it, my hash code is always returning me 1. If you understand this, my hash code is always returning me 1. What does it mean? That means it is always returning the same value again and again. You are trying to put the data into a hash map. So in that scenario, what will happen? Hash code is 1. That means different keys are coming and all keys points to same hash code. That means hash implementation is there, hash function implementation is there, hashing functionality is there. If I'm doing modulus with the size of the hash map, it will give constant hash code. That is the index point where actually data will be stored. So hash code will point to the same bucket again and again for all the data points. Okay, for key value pairs. So that hash code will tell you where exactly your data will get stored. What is the bucket name? And equals method will actually check the content, like what is the actual value. So first it will find with the help of hash code where data will be stored, that bucket element. And then after going to that bucket element with the help of equals method, it will check what is the content which you are going to save. That content is saved as it is there in the existing object, which is there in the form of node. Okay, so you might be knowing that in map, data is stored in the form of node, which contains hash code, key value, and next node's address. So initially one node will be there, which contains one hash code, one key, one value, and next node address is null. So equals method will always return me true. What does it mean? Okay, so whenever you are trying to put the data, all objects will be equal. Okay, because hash code is returning me one and equals is also always returning me true. That means all objects are equal here. Okay, and it will print the last overridden value. So if first object is t1, which mapped value is a, then second object is t2, has map.put t2, which has a mapped value of b, then t3 mapped value is c. Then what will happen over here internally in the memory? So here t1 will point to a first, because it is pointing to a specific index. Then when t2 comes, it will again point to the same bucket. Okay, but equals method returns me true. So here, okay, so what will happen? T1 T2 is same, because with the help of equals method both objects will be same. So T1 and T2 will be point to same particular node. It will not create separate nodes and get connected in the form of linked list. Rather, it will create one node only, and then T1 will be there only. It will not be replaced with T2. So they will be in the memory. T2, T3, T4 will be there, which will be pointing to that specific node. Okay. So, but in the bucket, it will be T1 and the value will be the last overridden value. Okay, so T1, T2, T3, T4, you are putting in the hash map. So in the actual hash map, there will be T1. Okay, and all objects are equal. So if you are getting T2, T3, T4, anything, any object you are getting, all objects will be same and all objects will point to same value. What is that value? The last overridden value which has been put into the map. Okay, so if we are putting map.put t1 comma a, map.put t2 comma b, map.put t3 comma c, then what will be there in the memory? It will be there like t1, because all objects are same, so all will be pointing to t1, because all objects are same, t1 equal to t2 equal to t3. But if you know, right, that there is a property of HashMap, if key is unique and there are different values associated with that particular unique key, then the last overridden value will be the final associated mapped value to that particular key. So all T1, T2, T3, T4 or up to Tn will be mapped to the last overridden value for that map. Okay, so if you take this example which I have written over here, T1A, T2B, T3C, so it will return me true. All objects are equal. So T1, T2, T3 will point to same particular node which contains T1, and then A, B, and C. Last value is C. Okay, so all these objects T1, T2, T3 will point me to this C. So final output will contain only one single node which will have T1 and the last value C. So this is the output basically. The size will be 1. Okay, because has code is always returning me 1, so it will point to same bucket, and equals method returns me true, so it will not create multiple nodes. It will point to one single node in the heap memory. The size will be 1 over here, and size of the map is 1. Map.get t1, you're trying to get the value for this t1. So first map.get t1, what will happen internally? It will calculate the hash code of it. After calculating the hash code, it will get like that is the bucket. I know that, so it will go to that bucket. Then the equals method always returns me true, so it will print me the last overridden value, which is C. So if you do map.get t1, that will also be C. Map.get t2, that will also be C. Map.get t3, that will also be C. And T4 you have not put in the map. Okay, you have T4, if you see, you have not put it in the map, but you have created the object for it. So all objects are treated as same, because hash code is returning me 1 and equals returns me true. So if you are not putting in the map, still all objects will be considered same. So all will point to the last overridden value, which is C. Okay, so that will be my final output. So in case of set also, if you consider here, if you are printing the set and you are adding T1, T2, T3, so all objects are considered equal. So first value will be considered as the main value, because key is unique. It is immutable. Okay, you can't change it. So once data is set here, it will not be changing. Okay, but in case of value, the last overridden value will be considered. So if I run this code, then you will see the output over here. ID 0, name T1, C. Okay, only first one is considered. Rest is not considered. And for value, the last overridden value is considered. Size is 1, because all objects are equal. All will point to one single node which contains hash code, key, value. And value is changing continuously, because last overridden hash map value will be there. Then data in the set will be first one. This one only is there. So now you are getting right why HashSet internally, how HashSet internally implements HashMap. So like this only. So if HashSet you are adding the object internally, it is putting it as a key, and key is calculated where it will get stored based upon overridden hash code and equals method. So like this, HashSet and HashMap are internally linked with each other. So that was the concept that I wanted to tell you with respect to HashMap, and it's very much important question. So practice it. So after that, the last question was asked was based upon Richardson maturity model. So what is this basically? So let's understand that. So Richardson maturity model specifies that if you are trying to name the methods, or how you are trying to create the methods or HTTP methods, okay, and what all mappings you are putting it in that. So there is a proper model that you need to follow. Based upon that, you are trying to segregate a request. So what type of requests are coming, and how you are creating endpoints for that, and what all HTTP methods you will be putting, that is separately calculated based upon this Richardson maturity model. So there will be like four levels of model, which is maturity model, which has been created by Richardson sir. So first level is level 0, where there is single URI will be there. First one URL will be passed, simple URL will be there. There will be one HTTP method, nothing more. You can consider it like post mapping will be there with slash order slash books. No other functionalities will be there. One single URL, one single HTTP method, and one single functionality. Then comes level 1. Level 1 is having what? So level 1 is having many URLs. Okay, it will have many URIs presented. So there can be a chance that I need multiple books and I need multiple authors as well. Okay, so both you should not mix in one single endpoint. Rather, you can create multiple endpoints and call that, and you can create separate methods for that. Okay, so you can have like single HTTP method. One single HTTP method you can put, like if you want to get the data, then there will be like multiple many URLs will be there, and then there will be a single HTTP method will be there for fetching the data. Like you can have get mapping and then fetching the data by passing the URL. Then you can have slash books slash authors. There will be dynamically passing of data at when you are hitting that endpoint. So there will be single HTTP method. For level 2, there will be many URLs, but there will be multiple HTTP methods. Okay, you are creating multiple methods for that, like one for getting the books, one for getting the authors. Okay, anything can happen, right? The user may want the book details, or the user may want the author details of them. Okay, so if you are relating both, then you should combine them with level 1, or if you want separately, then you can have level 2. You can put across multiple methods with many URIs. Okay, then level 3. So level 3, all concepts of level 2, level 1, but it will have resources that will describe their own capabilities. Okay, so there will be certain set of functionalities that will be associated with that capabilities. Okay, so whatever request is coming, how you are handling that resource, what capabilities you are giving to that resources, so those all things will be managed. So these 4 levels of maturity model for Richardson should be kept in mind before naming any REST API. So this question was asked to me in Nagarro, so you should be knowing on this. Okay, they will be expecting on this level basically. So if you go next, so this question was asked, so if user is saving the book details like book name, book ID, book price, then how will you write in with respect to Swagger? So in Swagger, what does all show in the console? The HTTP method, post, the actual URL, and the response body if it is post. Okay, request body, sorry. So those things will be shown there. So with respect to Swagger, what all things are being shown over there, that all things they were expecting from me to write it here. So user will save the book details basically. So what will be there? User will be just saving it. So it's a post method, right? Post HTTP method. So slash book slash save will be there. Okay, you can save the details. Then they search for a book. So it's a get mapping. So get mapping will be the HTTP method will be get. Then you are just searching it. So slash book name slash author name, like that you can create. So this is the thing. So purchasing the book by book ID. So how will you purchase? You are trying to save the data in database. Like every book will have its own price. So you need ID for that book. Okay. So after purchasing, there will be ID created, and that ID needs to get stored in database. So that is actually the post call. So there will be post mapping for that HTTP method, and that needs to be there in the Swagger format, post method, and then the URL for that purchasing, like slash purchase slash ID, which is the book ID, then the book name. Okay, like that you can give. So here ID is there, you can pass dynamically as ID, like slash purchase slash book slash ID, like that you can do. Okay. So like this, so this thing I've kept it, made it separately for you so that you can have a better understanding. So saving book details. So the post slash book. So this is the endpoint, which is according to Richardson maturity model. So there will be slash books endpoint, with the help of which you are adding a new book to the collection, and this follows level 1 of Richardson maturity model. So level 1 was what was stating that single URI, single HTTP method. That is level 1. We can utilize this for saving the data into database. Then searching for book, you can make use of get method like slash books endpoint. Then slash search also you can add with query parameters. So you can add here query parameters. Okay, like you can have request parameter you can add over here in the form of key value pairs, like what is the name of the book, the name and the value, like question mark slash book slash question mark, the name of the book equal to value of the book, name equal to the book name, like that you can have query parameters. Okay, that is level 2 of Richardson maturity model. Okay, because it contains query parameters which will have key value pairs. Okay, it will just not have only slash books and you are getting the data or storing the data. That it will expect query parameters with key value pairs. Then purchasing books. So here you can see it is slash books slash ID slash purchase. Okay, so here you can see like this is the endpoint. So here you can see this is the endpoint over here. Okay, this is our endpoint, and this is dynamic basically slash ID, because ID is unique to every book. Whatever book you are trying to purchase, ID will be unique. And slash purchase means you are doing the purchase operation, so you are naming it based upon that. So this is the post call, because you are purchasing books, so it will be slash books is ID for any book, which is slash ID, which is dynamic, and you are purchasing the book, so slash purchase will be there. This endpoint allows a user to purchase a book by its ID. You are purchasing the book by its ID. Then path parameter, this is called as path parameter, which is linked with the path variable. Okay, in the parameter, in the method, you will see you will have the path variable, which is dynamic with and is connected with this path parameter. And it identifies the specific book resource, because ID is unique for all the books. So it identifies the specific book resource. And the post method indicates an action to be performed on this resource. What action you want to perform? You want to purchase that book with ID this. That means you are doing certain set of action on that. So that is basically follows level 2 of Richardson maturity model. Okay, so what was level 2? If you go over here, level 2 is it will have many URIs. It will have many URIs, right? So here if you see there is books slash ID, so it can have many IDs. Okay, so it specifies a single particular book resource. Okay, and then you can see it will have multiple HTTP methods. Okay, so it may have multiple HTTP methods as well. Okay, so there will be one ID, there will be another ID. Okay, there is a certain path parameter which has been passed. Okay, so you can modify it as per your requirement. So if there is ID based, you can pass the ID. Okay, if it is a book name based, then you can segregate it based upon the book name. So this is as per the Richardson maturity model, how you are implementing it. So this was the question that was asked to me in the Nagarro. I hope you got the clarity, you got the basic understanding, like what is the level of question that was asked to me in Nagarro, and these questions are the basic expectations from the technical architect team who was there as an interviewer, who has interviewed me. So I've learned a lot from this interview. So if I'm selected or not, that is the rest thing, but I have learned a lot from this interview basically. Okay, so I hope you also got the clarity. You will prepare according to that and see yourself and comment it down below, like how much have you learned. Okay, so what all things have you learned newly in this video? Okay, just comment it down below. So then I will also be knowing that yes, you are learning from my videos. So I hope you have learned the concepts. You have learned a lot of things. So I will see you in the next video with certain next set of concepts. So it's Devjit Roy signing off. Bye bye.